Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from Jabba's Palace to Kunlun and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. I'm one of your ho-coasts.
Ho-coasts.
That's the thing, right?
Yes.
And with me, as always, is my ho-coast, Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Oh, nothing much, Mike. I thought you were going to say my Harley Quinn, because since, if anyone did not hear, Mr. Mike Gibson's book did get funded by Halloween, there are now pictures out that were going to be out anyways, because, well, you dressed as Harley Quinn for Halloween.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, when a few weeks ago, I posted on socials that if my comic book, The Amazing Shakes #1, Vampire Girlfriend, gets funded by Halloween, I'll post pictures of myself dressed as Harley Quinn. I had made the decision at that point that I was going to be Harley Quinn for my Halloween party. My wife was Poison Ivy. Great couples costume idea, if I do say so myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I made the decision at that point that I was not going to post pictures of myself in that costume otherwise. I feel like that would have been disingenuous if I put it up as some kind of incentive and then posted them anyway.
And then just tossed them up for the heck of it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I probably would have. I figured I probably would have waited until after the book was funded in general to do it. If someone else posted one, fine. But I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to think about that because we were funded on Halloween, October 31st. We got a few new backers and one previous backer that dramatically increased their funding amount, because you can go back into Kickstarter if you want to pledge more. You can increase the amount that you've pledged. And this person did quite an increase. I'm not going to give away any more details than that. Quite an increase. And that put us over the top. And we're still going. We got a couple more pledges yesterday and today even. Just because we've hit funding doesn't mean that you can't still contribute if you do want a copy of the book. And all the money that we get is going to go directly into production of the Kickstarter rewards, to production of the book itself, and any money that's left over is going to go directly into the production of issue #2 of The Amazing Shakes. So that is a guarantee. It's only going to you pledging now to book 1 is only going to lower the cost of the eventual funding goal, the Kickstarter for book 2. So
and before, if you pledged before, you thought you might be getting a book if it got funded, and now you just can pledge knowing you're going to get a book. So
that you're 100% going to get one. Exactly. There's nothing. It's definitely going to happen. So thank you to everybody who has donated and will be donating, who has backed the book. I just really appreciate it. And I'm shocked that that it's funded already. I didn't think it was actually going to be funded by Halloween. I just kept staring at the page and refreshing it, and I was like, that's a higher number, right? That's a higher number than this one. Yeah, that's I just had to keep staring at it for. You got
a scratch pad that you were just writing down. This is it. Yeah. Okay, this is it.
Yeah, so. And then Kickstarter sent me an email congratulating me, so I was like, okay, if they're emailing me, I guess it really happened. I didn't expect it this time, but
at this point we've got. If anyone hasn't gone back last week and heard the interview with artist of said book, Riley McFarlane, who absolutely killed it in the interview and in the podcast in general.
The whole show, she stuck around the whole time.
A guest. Go check that out. That was, I think, issue 25. This is issue 26.
Yes.
Who knows? Our numbering is always completely wonky. But I can say for this issue, we've already been talking about a lot of books, and we're going to talk about another one.
Yeah, this is that kind of week where I feel like this happens every time. Sometimes we have to. We usually try to do the show Sunday nights, but every once in a while I have to shift it to Monday. And every once in a while, a big thing, big piece of news, big trailer, whatever, drops either Sunday night or Monday, and this is that happening right now. We're about to talk about the first trailer for the Disney Plus original series Star Wars: The Book of Boba Fett. This is a series they spin off I guess it's a spinoff of The Mandalorian because that's the last time we saw Boba Fett, but it's also
Right.
just a spinoff of Star Wars in
Right.
general. Like Boba Fett's been around. He was in the original trilogy. He was in the prequel trilogy. He's been in Mandalorian. I know that he was in
The Christmas
Rebels. Was he
special.
in Clone Wars too? The Christmas special, of course, the holiday special. Was he in both Clone Wars and Rebels, or just Rebels?
Yeah, they had
Or
the
just Clone
arcs
Wars?
the arcs with him and Aurra Sing and Bosk in the original Clone
Yes.
Wars too.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So
he's all over
he
the
didn't
place.
show up. Yeah, he didn't show up in the sequel trilogy, but other than that, he's been around. So, but obviously a direct spin-off of Mandalorian season 2. He was a big part of the last half of that season, and his little sidekick or partner Fennec, who I'm a big fan of, featured heavily in this trailer. Both of them. Steve, what did you think of the trailer for Book of Boba Fett?
I put this out there a couple times on socials earlier, but much like the Solo movie, before I saw anything from it, couldn't have cared less about it. And yes, it's a new Star Wars series. It's in the Favreau Filoni verse. I'm sure it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
But I wasn't excited for it because Boba Fett's never been a huge character for me. Of like, I need to see more of him.
Same.
Yes, he looked cool, but he got hit with a pike and flew into a sarlacc, and that was it. But after watching this, I'm like, yeah, I need more of that. Yeah, that was good.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely. We've talked about our opinion. We have the same opinion of Boba Fett. I'm pretty sure we've talked about it before.
Yeah, I think we might have.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. But this was similar to Solo. Like you said, it was never something I wasn't gonna watch. Of course, I was gonna watch it. I was very intrigued because we got a post-credit tease of this or announcement of this at the end of Mandalorian season 2, and I think I was more intrigued about it because it focuses on him taking over Jabba's palace, and kind of like weaving it more into, something that we've seen before, or like a thread from the original trilogy or whatever. Immediately, kind of like sucked me in more than I would have been if it was just like the adventures of Boba Fett the bounty hunter, and Fennec would have been like, okay, sure. And still, I'm good. I'm not out of my mind necessarily with excitement about this series, or would I have been about another one, but both of those I would have watched. I think this trailer was really good. It didn't give us too much. It kind of confirmed what we thought, and what we thought was going to be that it's him kind of making his way into the Star Wars underground, the world of Star Wars crime and gangsters and all that stuff, which has been largely hinted at and not really explored ever in any mainstream Star Wars media. It's hinted at largely. Clone Wars and Rebels probably the closest to it. We've seen it in those shows. It's been referenced in movies like Rogue One and Solo, spin-off stuff like that, but not.
Well, and even the prequel trilogy, when just the references to it when Obi-Wan's talking to Dexter, whatever, the guy with forearms, the big dude with forearms, but like
the character that everybody loves.
Yeah, there's there's implications to it, and it's always there in the background, and you see all the nefarious folks at Jabba's palace throughout the era.
Even knowing Han Solo's a smuggler for Jabba the Hutt, and in Rise of Skywalker, they talk about Poe used to be a spice runner, so they definitely reference it, but it's never been explored, even though it's like this huge wealth of characters and bounty hunters and criminals and all this kind of stuff. I feel like it's like another pocket. It's an unexplored pocket, really, of characters. Like you have the Jedi, the Rebels, the Empire, the Sith. Those are 4 kind of main things that we've seen a lot of.
Yep.
We get more bounty hunting things in things like Clone Wars and Rebels and Mandalorian, and now we're getting even kind of deeper into that bounty hunting underground crime world, which is exciting. And I wish the trailer was a little bit longer. It wasn't really like a story trailer. It showed us some cool stuff, but
it seemed pretty contained.
It seemed pretty contained.
Yeah, it was going to be a small story and what's going on Tatooine. but at the same time, he's taking over Jabba's palace, and
right.
I'm throwing my Legends hat on because, I have to.
Right.
So back in Legends, the whole the Hutt cartel all tied back to Nar Shaddaa, where the Hutts were from, and it's a global or galaxy-wide cartel. And you have to think that somebody's going to come calling and be like, hey, this was ours. Can somebody work on this? So
yeah, well, you got to think, because in that post-credit teaser, he shows up and kills Bib Fortuna.
Yeah.
Who is currently seemingly has inherited it from Jabba, we're to assume. But how long is Mando's 5 years after Return of the Jedi?
Something like that.
At least Mando season 1, so maybe it's been 6 years of Bib Fortuna taking over, and then so it hasn't been a ton of time that he's been running the place. But I guess the trailer to me felt like everything we saw in that trailer could have been from one episode.
Yeah, could have been.
Which actually makes me more excited that we are going to get things that you and I have theorized about in the past, like showing how he got out of the Sarlacc pit, having it be kind of like flashbacks to other things in his life. Like, I still hope they do that. This trailer did not make it seem like that's going to be the format of the show. You and I had kind of guessed that may be what it was going to be, but maybe more a little straightforward, getting into the world of crime on Tatooine, which I'm totally fine with. And I know, it may not top Mandalorian for me, or come close to how I feel about the original trilogy or anything, but I'm expecting it to be solid. It looks really great. Tamir Morrison looks great. Ming-Na Wen looks great. I'm interested to see what other characters are going to pop up.
Somebody's going to have to show up. The question will be who and what. I'd assume we'll see some of the other bounty hunters. Whoever's still alive at this point. I mean, because if you're 5 years after Battle of Yavin, bounty hunting is not really a profession that you can hang around in a long term, unless you're Boba Fett. But
but I mean, there's a lot of those bounty hunters that are in Empire that we see in that one scene in Empire. We don't necessarily get confirmed deaths of any of them. Bosk or IG-88 or 4LOM. Are they?
Yeah, 4LOM and Zuckuss and any of them. It's maybe we'll see some of them. Maybe we'll see Cad Bane. Can we see a live action Cad Bane?
Oh my God, that'd be great. We just lost a ton of just general Star Wars fans that have no idea
who's that.
Yeah, who are they talking about? We went a level deeper just now. Well, I really liked. I thought the trailer was going to end bigger than it did, and not. But I watched it several times, and it seems like they're hinting at there being a issue amongst Jabba's captains or whatever they're referred to, with probably one Boba Fett coming in at all in general, but then also to the way he wants to run things being different than how Jabba ran things, which is kind of classic criminal underworld or mobsters fighting with each other or whatever, can't agree on stuff. They do it in the Dark Knight even and stuff, But I saw somebody else, it was a YouTube recap of it, hint at something like this, and it kind of got me thinking about the differences between who Boba Fett is and who Jabba the Hutt was. And for those that have just watched the movies or only watched the live action stuff, they may not know that the Hutts have been established as a legacy crime family on Tatooine, and Jabba himself was in power for decades. We see him in Phantom Menace. He's still in power in the current version of A New Hope, and he's still in power when he dies at the end of Return of the Jedi. So not only has he been around and in power for a long time, his whole family has had this control over the crime syndicate on Tatooine and other planets as well. And that to me speaks to a life well lived, an easy life of luxury. He's literally a giant fat worm that gets wheeled around on a giant slab. Right. Where Boba Fett's had a pretty rough upbringing. He's been a bad dude his whole life, but also he's like seen a lot and had to live through hard times and doesn't know what a life of luxury really is. And so that will be, I think there is a big opportunity in this show to kind of comment on maybe like class in Star Wars a little bit. Like Tamura Morrison is a Maori descent, so he's a man of color, person of color taking the throne. I don't know if that's gonna like play in or if they're gonna like hint at that or anything like that, but like there certainly is an opportunity here to talk about that, I guess, or like introduce that idea via Star Wars. I don't know. I think that was cool, and I hope the show does touch on that because it seems like a great opportunity.
Yeah, and through the trailer you saw a couple of different shots of I did like that they are bringing back a lot of random species and a lot of representation of other aliens that are throughout the galaxy. Like when they're sitting at the table, you've got the Weequay
walruses.
Yeah, you've got whatever Ponda Baba's species was.
Baba is,
you've got the Weequay like Hondo Anaka and the Trandoshans like Bosk that are all sitting around the table like, hey, where's our cut? And throughout you saw a couple other like Twi'leks, couple other species throughout the trailer, and it's like I'm really glad they're bringing back a lot of that classic, a lot of the classic species we've seen around Tatooine, because we didn't see a lot of those species in the sequel trilogy, and it might have just been different planets or whatever, but it's cool that they're showing that familiarity with what we've seen.
Yeah, it's not just a table of mostly humans and like 2 aliens or whatever, like it's heavily populated with alien species. I say alien, technically everybody in Star Wars is an alien.
Right. Whatever planet they go to, they're going to be an alien to whatever other planet.
They're not from Earth, so to us, they're all aliens. Luke Skywalker, you're an alien. But anyway, you know what I mean. Yes, that's cool, and it's it just makes it feels more like Star Wars.
Yeah, it feels lived in.
Skip on stuff like that. Yes, exactly. Yes, and natural for that world, which it should be. Like I have pictures of like Rise of Skywalker in my head where the scenes where they're at the base and like it's just crawling with humans, and I guess like the rebels are always like a majority humans. You don't see a ton of like alien species like fighting in the trenches of Hoth and things like that, but in a world where this band of rebels is fighting for liberty for the entire galaxy, you'd think there would be more alien creatures. And that's something the sequel trilogy did do, is give us a few X-Wing pilots that were aliens more than just 9 Num.
Right.
We actually saw some like variety, which is cool.
Oh yeah, and that's in general. I think they're gonna. It seems like they're gonna do it justice. I didn't realize Ludwig Göransson is scoring it. So coming fresh off some Black Panther action.
And Mandalorian. He does Mandalorian scoring too. So
does he? For some reason, I was thinking was. I thought Mando was Kevin Kiner who did the Clone Wars, but I am apparently very wrong. So.
He might have done some, but I know Göransson did at least the main theme for Mandalorian. I believe at least all of season 1.
In that case, I'm 100% all in. I was excited before, and now I'm even more excited.
Nice. So all right, moving from Star Wars into DC. Didn't have a whole lot of DC news last week because we're coming off the heels of DC Fandom, which dropped a ton of news. So it's not surprising that DC isn't still flooding the market with news. But as much as stuff we got at DC Fandom, I feel like I keep remembering stuff that they didn't mention at DC Fandom that they have announced already. And so it's cool that we, even after DC Fandom, we are still getting announcements of things. One thing we're going to talk about later in the one-shots, but then also this, I thought, was a great, super exciting piece of casting news for the Batgirl movie. Brendan Fraser has been cast as the villain Firefly in the upcoming HBO Max Batgirl movie. Now, this means that Brendan Fraser is now pulling double duty in the DC extended universe because he plays Robot Man. He's Cliff Steele on Doom Patrol, and now he's going to be Firefly. And I'm very excited about this because Brendan Fraser's great. I was excited when he was cast as Robot Man, even though I remember being like, whoa, I thought he was retired because he kind of, he went away for a long time. There was some, he was having some personal issues that caused him to kind of like semi-retire or like retreat from the limelight a little bit. And then I was like, wow, I forgot about that guy. He's going to be in Doom Patrol. Awesome.
Yeah.
But even at that, he's rarely actually in it as himself because he just voices the Robot Man character, and you barely see him as Cliff Steele. Only maybe once or twice per season he's actually there as a human actor. But seemingly he's going to be all the time as the bad guy in Batgirl. Firefly, for those of you who don't know, is a kind of pyromaniac Batman villain. He's got a flying suit and a fireproof suit with a jetpack, and he flies around and lights stuff on fire with a flamethrower. Yeah. He's a little maniacal.
That's a little on point.
Yeah, little on point. He was like a pyrotechnic effects person that worked on like movie sets and stuff. That either, I think maybe one, he got either fired and was mad and took revenge by burning it down, or he got into an accident and then was fired or something like that. So he's like in some iterations he's like burned. He's a burn victim and also scarred. So
we'll see. Sent him on his merry way into villainhood.
Yeah. So we'll see which way they take it. But I don't know. Steve, I know you're not super versed in the world of Batgirl in general, but what do you think about Brendan Fraser joining the DCEU?
I think since Encino Man, I've been a huge Brendan Fraser fan, so anything he does is always solid. Although I don't know, I can't remember how many mummies he did. I know one of them at least was good.
He did at least 3. I want to say he did at least 3.
Yeah, he's killing it in Doom Patrol. Like, again, we're still I keep going back and forth as to what I keep catching up on between Doom Patrol and Titans, because
same.
They keep putting things out and I can't keep up. Now Why the Last Man is wrapping up season 1, so I've got to finish the last 2 episodes of that. I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point, but he's been great in Doom Patrol. It seems weird that they're going to run with him as a villain in a different connected franchise, but okay, cool, like that's fine.
Well, they haven't really established, I guess. They've said that everything's in its own world, right? Like everything's its own universe in the DCEU, so they haven't necessarily established what Earth the Doom Patrol was on versus the regular DCEU, because remember there was a story where there was a rumor that they were going after J.K. Simmons to play Commissioner Gordon in this movie.
Yep.
Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah.
So if that happened, it would be mainline DCEU continuity that the Batgirl movie takes place in. I know that the Doom Patrol is separate from the CW verse because there was a reference to Doom Patrol when they did the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover a couple years ago on the CW shows. And they were on a separate Earth in the CW, but that doesn't mean that they're on the same Earth as the regular DCEU. This is all very confusing. So we'll just see, I guess. But, that does play into who's going to be Commissioner Gordon. Is there going to be a Batman in it? Like, it seems crazy that they're not even good. They have to at least reference Batman in this movie, but I don't think Ben Affleck's going to come back for anything ever again.
No, probably not.
I think he's done. He wrapped his thing on the Flash movie, and I think he gave some short interview about how he was finished, and he said it was a lot of fun, and it was a nice way to end playing that role.
There you go.
More or less. So,
hot take.
I don't think he's coming back.
Hot take. In whatever Earth we're on, Cliff Steele ends up becoming Firefly.
Oh man! Wow. So it's the same guy.
Yeah. He gets burnt in the car crash, and instead of there we go. Instead of becoming a Robot Man, he becomes Firefly.
Oh, that would be cool.
Hire us, DC. Hire us.
It's right there. It's all right there, guys. Fire the people you have writing it now and get us. The other reason I'm excited about this is that there's a really great series called Batgirl Year One. When DC goes back to tell an origin story, they a lot of times will character name : Year One, and that's based on the very successful Batman Year One by Frank Miller. And ever since then, they've done a Robin Year One. They've done a Batgirl Year One. I think they've maybe done a Catwoman year. They've done just a lot of different, mostly in the Batman universe. They'll give you an origin story of this character, call it Year One. The Batgirl Year One is very good. I really, really like it. It's a great introduction of her and great explanation of why she becomes Batgirl, why she chooses to do it, why she, chooses to wear that specific costume. And, shows her really standing up to Batman in a way that says, because at first he's not threatened, but it's kind of like, why are you doing this? Who are you? Why are you wearing my symbol? And she gets right in his face and says, why is it your symbol? I'm doing it because I want to do it. You don't own this. You can't tell me what to do, which is great. But anyway, one of the main villains in that is Firefly.
Okay.
And Firefly teams up with, I guess maybe more the main villain is this other guy named Killer Moth, who's like a kind of a lesser known, even probably lesser than Firefly known Batman villain.
So we're going with an insect theme on these villains here.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Heavy
they kind of team
theme.
up. Not necessarily because of that, but it does make for a fun visual in a comic book style.
We'll have more insects coming later too.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. So,
actually, a lot of them.
yeah, you're right. So, if this means that they are taking influence from Batgirl Year One, then that makes me very excited and makes me even more, gives me more confidence in the movie. And I already had it based on, Christina Hodgson is a great writer and she's written some good movies, including Birds of Prey. So she clearly knows her stuff. So if this is going to be based on or inspired by Batgirl Year One, then that's going to be great. So
nice.
I'm pumped to see how Brendan Fraser does in this movie, and if they make any kind of reference at all to him also being Robot Man. Probably not. I feel like you don't see double casting like this often unless it's something like, he's really just the voice. And I'm sure he's not going to... Anytime we do see Cliff Steele on Doom Patrol, he's got like a huge handlebar mustache and long trucker hair and, mullety. Yeah, exactly. So like, I'm sure he will look radically different in Batgirl, so there will not be any confusion at all.
Well, it's, Paul Bettany was the voice of Jarvis and became Vision in the MCU. So.
Yeah, that was just sheer genius plotting and probably luck. Probably luck that actually worked out.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, by the way, do you want to actually be the person that you've been voicing for a while?
Really do this? Yeah.
So your conversation there made me realize, like, thinking back how iterative the Marvel DC thing popping back and forth always is, because after all the successful Batman Year One, like, if Miller wrote it, I'd assume it was a good bit ago. That Marvel tried to do the same thing with their season ones.
Yes. Yeah.
Wasn't nearly as successful. The Wolverine one wasn't horrible. Some of the other ones were okay, but definitely didn't hit the same levels or highs, and it hit more lows than highs.
Yeah. Didn't have the same amount of success or didn't have the same amount of same legs.
There's still, like, if you don't know the jumping on point for any of the characters that have a season one book, like, it's a solid small trade to pick up to be like, okay, this is how it started. That's fine.
Yeah. This is everything I need to know. Yeah,
right.
It's like a
here's your cliff
course,
notes.
basically.
Yeah. And then when you were describing Barbara Gordon and Batman, or is Barbara Gordon Batgirl in this iteration?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So when you were describing that relationship, all I could think of is literally the Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, and Clint Barton relationship of, like, why are you doing this? You took my thing. It's not your thing. It's like, okay.
Right.
Like, I forget. All these stories are pretty well, you can put whatever face you want on them, and they're still going to be good.
Yeah, you can definitely draw a similarity there, except at least in Batgirl Year One, the story, Batman never fully embraces
Oh yeah.
her as a member of the Bat, or at least he doesn't like. He basically sends Robin to do all the talking. Like Robin's like the go-between, and Robin's the one like dropping off like, hey, here's some new smoke bombs, or here's a new motorcycle. Like,
Right.
don't ask where it came from or whatever, you know. But
Here,
it's kind of like
go be the
shown that
middleman.
Batman, yeah, and it's kind of shown that Batman is like guiding it, but also like kind of trying to stay back and letting her develop on her own thing, but helping her along the way, but also not coddling her really in any kind of way, because you know Batman sometimes is written as kind of a dick. I don't know if you're aware of that. There's different iterations of Batman where he's like very warm and open to collaboration, and there's very much like stay out of my way and do what I tell you to do. You are a soldier and I am your general and you listen to me, you little child, which is crazy. I prefer somewhere kind of in the middle. It's a bit of a, I don't know.
That middle seems to be kind of where we're getting with Titans, actually.
Yeah. Yes.
So.
Yeah. You get shades of either side for sure. Well, cool. We talked about that way longer than I thought we would. But moving from DC into the wide world of Marvel, Steve, this is something I did not see coming in a million years.
Not at all. Not at all.
But I'm excited about it. And it's not like so shocking, I guess, but it's just surprising. And I don't know.
All I can say is now we've got that going for us, which is nice.
Yeah, that's right. Bill Murray has dropped hints. I mean, hints more.
No, that's more than a hint.
More than a hint of being in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the third Ant-Man movie or second Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, however you want to say it. Quantumania is going to have Bill Murray in it, guys. He said in an interview with a German newspaper called Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung.
Sure.
It's a shot in the dark there. Who knows what I said? He
said
this. He said
it's German. You didn't say it angry enough.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, not enough phlegm in my throat.
Yep.
He said, sorry to any Germans listening to this. I recently made a Marvel movie. Right? That's not a hint, right?
Right. No, that's flat out. Like, yeah, I did that.
So he's in one right there. I probably won't tell you, but never mind. I don't know what that sentence means.
It's the most Bill Murray sentence that he could have said.
Yeah. In any case, some people were quite surprised by why I decided on such a project. But for me, the thing was quite clear. I got to know the director and really liked him very much. He was funny, humble, everything you would want from a director. And with the cheerleading story, Bring It On, he made a movie years ago, which I think is damn good. So I agreed, although I'm not interested in these huge comic book adaptations as an actor otherwise. So who directed Bring It On?
Peyton Reed.
Peyton Reed. Who's directing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
Also Peyton Reed.
Peyton Reed. He's done all 3 Ant-Man movies so far. So this is Bill Murray saying that he's in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Right.
He went on
solely
to say,
because he liked Peyton Reed.
Because he likes Peyton Reed as a person or as a director.
From Bring It On.
Yeah. Yeah. And he went on to say, let's put it this way. The director is a good guy. And now I've at least tried out what it's like to shoot a Marvel movie, but I don't think I need that experience a second time. So this is going to be a one and done thing for Bill Murray. He's not playing some character that's going to go on. He's not cast as the Silver Surfer or something.
Oh my God.
That would be hilarious.
Bill Murray as Norrin Red would be the greatest thing ever.
I mean, that was the first random character that just came into my head. I really, really wish that he would be playing the Silver Surfer now, just as like low-key, kind of out of shape. You know, just like he's more like paddling along the surfboard than standing and surfing on it.
He's just laying on it. Just we're getting there, man.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Oh man, that'd be great. Anyway, Steve, who could he possibly be playing? Is he going to be playing a named character, or is it just going to be like a background? I mean, if you get Bill Murray, you want him to do something. You're not going to get Bill Murray and have him just say 2 lines, right? I feel like he's got to do something.
At the same time, it's the MCU, so you might. It might just be some not a true big character, but someone, they're not like a true extra or something where he just has a cameo and that's it, but like someone who's not amazingly important to the plot, or maybe not someone we've ever actually met from any of the comic books.
Yeah.
I don't know. That it seems weird that out of nowhere you bring in Bill Murray for one movie. He confirms that he's in one movie and he's done, and there's no sign, hide, nor hair of who, what, or how it could be.
Yeah. I don't know. Really interesting. It seems like it seems like he actually acted. It seems like he didn't do motion capture. He's talking about shooting a Marvel movie. I mean, I don't know if he's done motion capture before, but he's done voiceover stuff before. So it's not like he's lending his voice. He's talking about it as if he had an experience shooting on a big film set production like that, like a Marvel movie that he's never done before. So I got to assume that he's playing not himself. This isn't Zombieland or anything, but like... he's really acting. He's not doing an animated character or anything like that. So, I mean, it could be anybody. Who knows? It could be a former colleague of Hank Pym or something. Maybe he gets killed in this movie and that's why he's not coming back. Or maybe, I don't know. Out of all the actors that I would have guessed could have possibly appeared in a Marvel movie, I never would have said Bill Murray, just because it took him 30 years to come back for a Ghostbusters movie. So like he's been so adverse to big franchises and things like that since then that I'd be shocked. But anyway, I love Bill Murray, and I'm excited that he'll be in Ant-Man Quantumania. It would be cool if he got a little screen time with Paul Rudd. I could not think of his name at all right then. But
no, even better if he got some screen time with Jonathan Majors.
Yeah,
because Kang is the villain. I want to see those three go at it, like the dynamism of the acting between Murray and Majors, and then Paul Rudd just being Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I was just thinking Paul Rudd because they're both very funny.
Also true,
and they could be both very funny together. But Bill Murray's more than just funny; he's a tremendous actor in general. So I guess I'll be interested to see if it is a funny role. Is it funny? Is it serious? I mean, he can do anything. It could be anything, and he can do anything. So, guys, Bill Murray's in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I don't have anything else to say of it, but I'm excited.
Apparently did the same thing on Kimmel and slipped. Oh,
really?
I'm not supposed to say they're making a movie. I'm in it. Blah blah blah. It's like, okay, wow. He's on his not tour of telling people he's in this movie.
Yeah, probably because I don't know. Maybe it was a thing where he's like, I'm not going to actually do promotion for it when it comes out, but I got to do this Ghostbusters thing, so I'll mention it while I'm talking about Ghostbusters.
I'll give you a quick shout out for it and get people thinking about it.
Yeah.
So
that's exciting. I don't have anything else to say about it. So we're going to be leaving the Marvel universe and into the Marvel Comics universe. We're talking about some comic books, and we got 3 cool Marvel announcements that came out this week. First, we got Marvel announcing a miniseries called Savage Spider-Man from writer Joe Kelly and artist Gerardo Sandoval. This is a sequel to Non-Stop Spider-Man, which hilariously and ironically was canceled last month. Non-Stop apparently ended, spoiler alert, ended with Peter transforming into a human spider hybrid monster kind of thing. And that's exactly where this Savage Spider-Man will pick up. So if you were very frustrated when Non-Stop Spider-Man ended and was announced to be canceled and left you with that giant cliffhanger, don't worry, because this is going to pick right up. Marvel editor Nick Lowe, not the musician Nick Lowe, apparently. It's just a different guy that works at Marvel, although it'd be great if Nick Lowe, the songwriter musician, was also an editor at Marvel Comics. But I'm sure it's a different guy.
It's fine.
Yeah. He said, "You may think you've seen a monstrous or vicious Spider-Man before, but never like this. This book is so intense that you're going to need to put it down between pages to get your breath back." He talked about it as being a very intense kind of horror kind of book. And I don't know, I'm excited. Steve, were you reading Non-Stop Spider-Man at all? I remember flipping through a couple pages and being pretty astounded by the art.
What they were doing.
Literally non-stop. Yeah, it was a barrage of panels on every page. It was a lot of stuff going on.
No, I didn't see any of it. It's one of those that I'll probably when we were talking about it the last time, I was like, I'll check that out on Unlimited whenever it drops. I'd assume a couple of the first issues are, but I usually try and wait till the whole run's on there, unless it's something, like
that you're dying to read.
Yeah. But they're talking all about this Savage Spider-Man and it being him transforming into a human spider hybrid. Didn't we already see that with Man Spider? Like, we all lived through the 90s, right?
Yeah, but he's saying that you've never seen him like this, Steve. So I don't know. To me, I mean, it's not like super appealing to me.
Right.
I've said it a million times. I prefer a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I don't really care about him mutating into a monster necessarily. But I don't know. The artwork looked cool when I saw there was like a teaser image for it. It was kind of like half monster, half Peter. So I don't know. It's cool, but I'm glad that I hate when a comic gets canceled in the middle of a run and there's no follow up or just never any closure. But it's cool.
It's good that they're getting that.
At least. Yeah, and I guess I don't know why cancel the one series and call it something else if you're just gonna keep telling the same story. Like, that's weird to me. I don't know why they're doing that, but whatever. Something else that Marvel is doing is introducing a new Iron Fist this February with a 5-issue limited series. Apparently, in this past year's miniseries called Iron Fist: Heart of the Dragon, Danny Rand gave up his powers at the end of that arc in order to save the world or save the universe or something that superheroes do. And now somebody new is going to be picking up the mantle of Iron Fist, and Marvel has not revealed the identity of this person, which makes me think we maybe know who they are already, maybe an existing character. Who knows? We won't know until probably closer to February when this issue drops. It's from writer Alyssa Wong and artist Michael Yee. Did I copy that right? YG, is that his last name?
I mean, we have Ram V, so yeah, that sounds
that's
great.
True. With design contributions by the wonderful Jim Chang. Steve, I have a theory as to why Marvel Comics is introducing a new Iron Fist. Can you guess what that theory is, or do you have a theory?
To not have it be a random white dude?
One, yes, to not have it be a random white guy, to introduce an actual Asian character, because this is a character that deserves to be an Asian character if there ever was one. And subsequently, once they have introduced a new version of Iron Fist, they can introduce a new live-action version of Iron Fist. In some kind of way.
Wipe the slate clean instead of the mess that was whatever we saw a couple of years ago.
That is my guess, because the reactions to the Iron Fist live-action show were so poor that they were like, we need to figure out a way to, maybe we want to use this character. We still want it. We have plans, or wouldn't it be great if we could use Iron Fist? But everybody hates this version of Iron Fist. Let's figure out our own way to do that. How do we do that? Start with the comics. Introduce this character now. A year from now, 2 years from now, we announce, this character is now going to be in whatever Disney Plus show or whatever Young Avengers movie or whatever is going to happen down the road. So I think this, besides being a great move for the series in general, like you said, get rid of a random white, to get rid of the annoying white savior trope that has been kind of dogging this character for like a really long time. I think it is a way for the MCU to get a new Iron Fist and not have it be the guy that
was in the last one. Yeah.
I saw, what did I read? I'm flashing to like an interview that I read. I think it was like, was it the stunt coordinator on Iron Fist, or maybe it was someone that worked on a number of those Marvel shows, and he didn't name names, but he mentioned the lead of a martial arts based show refusing to train and learn the fight choreography. And so, I mean, it wasn't Charlie Cox, because that dude was committed to that role. As Daredevil. So I'm guessing that it was the guy that played Danny Rand, and I don't even remember that Finn something, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
I tried to forget that show, so
yeah, I could maybe be misremembering that. But also, if my theory is correct, then does that mean they want to use Iron Fist without having to use the guy we know as Iron Fist, but they need to make this change because they want to bring in those characters from the Netflix shows, but they don't want to bring in that character from that actor from the Netflix shows, you know what I mean? So they have to come up with a reason to have a new actor. Like, I don't know. I'm just desperate for any conspiracy that I can cling to that tells me that I'm going to see Charlie Cox as Daredevil and, those versions of Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Punisher on the big screen or in the MCU at some point. Like, I just want all those shows back, really. Just give me additional seasons of those shows. I don't care if they're in the MCU or not. I just want more of those. Except Iron Fist, because that show sucked. Sorry, I know that's
Defenders wasn't great either.
No, it wasn't. But that's like the coldest take in nerddom is that Iron Fist sucked. But
yeah,
here we are saying it again. So that comes out in February. Also, what comes out in February for Marvel Comics is a new Ghost Rider. This is the return of the Ghost Rider, just in time for the character's 50th anniversary. This is an all-new ongoing series from writer Benjamin Percy and artist Corey Smith, featuring the original Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, is coming back. That character has been out of the game for a while, made way for several new iterations, Robbie Reyes being the most well-known one, I believe, since Johnny Blaze vacated the mantle of Ghost Rider. Coming out for the character's 50th anniversary, they're bringing him back, and the writer said, "Prepare yourself for the ultimate in road horror." He talked about how he's always been a big fan of this character, and this character is inherently scary and cool design and the most like heavy metal character that Marvel has. I would agree with all that, probably. Yeah. And seems like he's really excited to be writing a Ghost Rider story. Steve, have you read much Ghost Rider or experienced much Ghost Rider?
Not a ton, and especially not a ton of the Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch versions. Like I read at least one run of Reyes, I think right after he debuted in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
So like that, I was like, oh, that takes, I kind of like that take on that character, and
nice.
Went and grabbed some. I think it might have been on Unlimited or whatever, but ended up reading a little bit of that. The character's always been weird for me because I don't know, I've just never gotten into him enough to understand the whole Spirit of Vengeance thing. I know some people absolutely love him. I know he's probably been a phenomenally well-written character for years if he's still around, but just don't have a ton of personal experience with him.
Yeah, I mean, he looks cool as hell.
Yeah,
that's like really that's kind of the only thing, or the most he has going for him, whether or not you've read him or not. Like, I think I don't know that I've read. I definitely have a couple of his solo books that I remember, but I think the most of what I've read of Ghost Rider is him appearing in other things, whether they're like kind of anthology books or guest starring. Like, I remember the first time I ever saw Ghost Rider when I was a kid. One of the earliest comics that I had was a Spider-Man comic. It was the 6th issue of a new run of Spider-Man when Todd McFarlane was on the art. Yep. Unfortunately, it's one of the books that got super damaged when my basement flooded a couple months ago, so it's a bummer. But that issue was a Spider-Man book that featured Hobgoblin, terrifying, and Ghost Rider, also terrifying. I was scared of reading that book. Like, I couldn't stop reading it, but I also was terrified to look at Hobgoblin and also Ghost Rider, who's doing things like driving his motorcycle up sides of buildings, dragging a guy that he's about to hold over the side of the building to interrogate. Get this close to him with his flaming skull face, like super cool. So,
and always with the Michael Myers speed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, except when he's on a blazing motorcycle.
Motorcycle extremely fast. Walking, nope. You're in a Halloween movie.
Yeah, exactly. And he had a couple unfortunate live action adaptations with Nicolas Cage. I'd say maybe fun but bad. I don't think I ever saw the second one, but
nope, didn't see.
I feel like in a better, if Nicolas Cage was if they hadn't made those movies and they cast Nick Cage as the MCU Ghost Rider today, I'd be like, wow, that's perfect, great casting. And I think I did at the time. I was like, oh, he'd be good. He's a crazy actor, and that's a crazy character, so match him up. And he was definitely committed to that role for sure. But this movie's not great. So I don't know. It's cool to see Ghost Rider back. I hope they do more for the 50th anniversary. I hope they do more with the character. I hope we see him in live action. I feel like a lot of times when they do bring, I don't know, when they do make a big fuss of like bringing back it's a new ongoing series. It's not even a miniseries. It's an ongoing. That makes me think that they maybe have some more plans for some iteration of Ghost Rider.
Are they just making him the writer again? And is Robbie just out of the picture now, or
and what's happening with Robbie? Yeah, who knows? I don't know. It's hard for me, like with the MCU firing on all cylinders. It's hard for me to not, when I see a Marvel Comics announcement, it's hard for me to not think like, okay, what does this mean?
Right.
Bigger picture, like step back. Was Kevin Feige like, hey, can you have somebody start a new Ghost Rider comic ongoing series? So, in a year from now when we announce a Ghost Rider, there's some hype there. Like, I don't know. I just can't help but look at it like that. Maybe that's me being cynical or whatever, but
no, you're being realistic. There's a difference. Sometimes that ends up being cynical, but it's true.
Yeah, that's true. So other comics coming out this coming week, we got Batman 116, Batman Superman Authority Special #1, prelude to Superman and the Authority series. It's coming out soon. Dark Knights of Steel, the new Tom Taylor, like Justice League, if it was Game of Thrones series, is starting this week. It's going to be very strange. The Death of Doctor Strange saga continues with Death of Doctor Strange Avengers #1. We got a new trade paperback collection of Hawkeye by Fraction and Aja, the saga of Barton and Bishop. I believe that I pre-ordered this, and it should be at my door tomorrow. Very excited to cram all of that. Oh, really? Awesome. Yeah. Book club.
There you go.
I have not read that entire run. I've read portions of it. I've read at least the first 2 volumes, I think, so I'm excited to binge the entire thing before the Disney Plus show comes out later this month. We got Hilda, the Wilderness Stories, a great young reader series. Hilda, check that out if you have kids that you want to get them in the comic books. We got the Me You Love in the Dark #4 from Image, Stranger Things Winter Special one-shot. Yes, kids, there are Stranger Things comics. Check them out. Swamp Thing #9, speaking of Ram V, and True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, California Deluxe hardcover collection. This is the story written by Gerard Way, the basis of the 3rd My Chemical Romance album. If you are fans of The Umbrella Academy or his run on Doom Patrol, which I am fans of both of those. I've never actually read this, but I'd actually, hot take, that 3rd My Chemical Romance album, that's my favorite one. I know everyone loves Black Parade, but I'm a Killjoy guy. I don't know. So I really feel like I should read this, and this is the perfect time for me if it's coming out in a deluxe hardcore collection. So I'm going to check it out for sure. Steve, what else is on your pull list, or any of these exciting, or what else are you reading right now?
I'm really disappointed in you, Mike. You missed one huge one this week.
Shit, what did I miss?
You missed the debut of Mr. Tom King in Human Target.
Human Target comes out this week. I missed that.
Yep, him and Greg Smallwood are starting up Human Target this week. So,
crap. How did I not even see that?
That I don't know. It's not on the rundown, so you must have missed it in the list. Hopefully, you got it on your poll.
Right in front of me. It's not on my poll. I'm gonna have to call my comic book store, dude. I am so close to switching comic book stores, and I don't want to because I have to drive twice as far to get to the one that you go to. You're on the road all the time, so it doesn't matter to you. I have to drive 40 minutes to get to this awesome comic book store that you have your pull list at. Mine, I go to pick up books. I've got 6 books, either from last week or the previous week. It's been like 2 weeks since I've been there. I go, I'm like, hey, I'm here to pick up my box. I give them my name. Nothing in my box.
Right.
None. I was like, there should be books there. And they're like, well, there's nothing in your box. I was like, well, I know that a new...
like, I have a subscription.
A new Nightwing came out since I was here. A new Batman came out since I was here. A new Batman, Catwoman, like all these ones that are on my pull list. And they pull out they just didn't believe me. They had to pull out my pull list and look at it. I'm like, I didn't buy these. They had to look up my purchase history, and they're like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm like, yeah, I know I would have read these if I had purchased them already. I haven't read these. And so they had 3 of them that were still on the shelf, but other than that, they have to just order more. And now I gotta wait for
God.
What do you? They're like, oh, we might have put them in the wrong box. We're like, 6 different books you put into the wrong box. What are you doing? Like, what do you mean? What are you doing? Yes, that's one of the ones I actually got. But you got some cool like.
There's a foily variant.
Foil variant?
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't have that.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna bring my one that you have in the stack. That's nice in the stack and all, but I'm gonna bring that back to the back and get the foily one.
Yeah, I do that sometimes if there's an awesome variant. But anyway, sorry to vent. That's just my very frustrating experience with my local comic book store, and I don't know. I don't want to have to drive so far to get to the cool one, but it's the only other. I so prefer that one. I think I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and do it.
Well, if you ever need me to pick up your Paul, I can always do that too.
Okay.
I drive past it all the time.
Emergent. How do you do that? I just list you as like my emergency contact for comic book pulling.
Yeah. Can you get my? This is my next of kin for comic books.
I know.
They also do home delivery too. So
they do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sold.
I'm signed up. Yeah, I'm sold.
and you can do it all through the website too. You don't even have to. I'm just selling you more and more, aren't I?
Yeah, I'm saying it on this podcast. I'm gonna break up with my local comic book store and go somewhere else.
There you go.
It feels good to say out loud. I knew it was the right thing. Thanks for talking me into it, Steve. You're a good friend.
Also, Jeff, if you're listening to this, open your shop back up.
Jeff, come on, man. I need to go back to Cloud City, dude. I miss that place so much. Come on. Let's make that happen. All right, we're going to move into some one-shots to wrap up this show. Good. We got some
heavy one-shots here.
Some meaty one-shots. So I don't know. This might take a while. But anyway, starting off with, we got writers hired. We mentioned earlier we're going to talk about another DC project that we've not forgotten about, but didn't get any news of DC fandom. We got writers hired for HBO Max's Superman Val-Zod adaptation. This is writers Darnell Metayer and Josh Peters are going to co-write the HBO Max miniseries that is set to star Michael B. Jordan as Earth 2's Superman, Val-Zod. Very pumped about that.
For anyone who is into the Witcher stuff, which would be myself and probably some listeners, the new trailer for Season 2 has officially dropped. The full trailer. They dropped a teaser, I think, earlier in the week of some of the new stuff, and then dropped the full trailer. But that's hitting Netflix on December 17th.
Right, and we got confirmation that Dune Part 2 has been officially announced and will begin filming the fall of 2022 for an October 2023 release. We'll talk about that in a moment.
That's tight.
Ambitious.
In other trailer news, the new trailer for The Wheel of Time, which is coming, I believe, November 19th or 17th, or in 2 weeks, basically, dropped. It's like a 3-minute trailer that is a quote-unquote 360 experience. So on YouTube, as the trailer is going, you can pan around the screen to see little nuggets, and it was really weird. The trailer was really cool. The whole thing was kind of funky.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second, too. James Wan says that the now canceled Aquaman spinoff called The Trench was, quote, unquote, a secret Black Manta movie that now we will never see. Interesting.
Yeah, that's never, yeah. Wow, why would you do that? And in news that nobody expected someone to say, Tom Holland has officially said that he does not know if Tobey McGuire and Andrew Garfield are in Spider-Man No Way Home. And I quote, "I'm always in the dark. If they are, no one's told me." This is Tom Holland, Mr. I'm keeping spoilers to himself. I think he's gotten in enough trouble that he might have learned.
Yeah. And lastly, our last one shot is the trailer for a movie that I guess now fits into movies that we talk about here on this show, Lightyear. We got a trailer for the Toy Story spin-off movie, Lightyear, the story of the real-life, quote-unquote, Buzz Lightyear that the toy is based on. And I don't know. Steve, did you see the Lightyear trailer?
I did.
And I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, I
loved it.
I did not know I needed a Buzz Lightyear sci-fi movie, but here we are.
Here's my question. as we're jumping in and talking about these, and might as well stick
Yeah,
with Lightyear
start
for a
there.
second. Does this mean that, okay, in Toy Story, in like the world of Toy Story, like Andy is a kid that plays with toys and grows up, whatever, like that kid. Is there intergalactic travel and space aliens in that world? Or is this like Andy, like does Andy watch the news and read about the real life Buzz Lightyear who goes into space and fights aliens? Or does Andy go to a movie theater and watch the movie Lightyear about Buzz Lightyear?
Okay. Here it is. Mid-credits scene is Andy and his family at the movie theater, and Andy saying, "I need one of these for my birthday," or "I need a Buzz Lightyear toy for my birthday."
Steve, you didn't answer my question, but I guarantee you that is going to happen.
It's gotta be.
That's such a Pixar thing to do, to like put a little bow on their Toy Story universe. Like, if they don't do that, I will be furious now that you said that. Is such a perfect, that is such a perfect thing for them to do. It's a very Pixar thing to do. I'm calling it that's going to happen.
They've got it.
You called it today. You called it November 1st, 2021. Steve Haller called it. That's going to happen. But I don't know, like, that's the only confusing part to me. Is like, does Andy look up in the sky and be like, someday I'm going to go to another planet like Buzz Lightyear?
Right.
Or is it like is it like us going to see a Spider-Man movie? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it needs to be clear. It's just strange to me to think about, like, Andy's going to school thinking about how intergalactic space travel is a normal thing.
Yeah, this is fine. This is normal.
Yeah, this is fine. Anyway, which one of these do you want to dive into first? Something tells me Wheel of Time or Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man, I think, has been Spider-Man. Like, we've talked through that enough times. Like, Tom is gonna say that. He has to at this point. He's screwed up enough.
He has to. He has to. But also, like, honestly, it's a possibility that they're not in this movie. Like, it's just possible. You have to allow for the possibility that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are not and have never planned to be in this movie. And if that's the case, you know they're scrambling to figure out how to counteract mass fan letdown because the hype for that is so huge now at this point.
Right. Me being happy that they're not in it is not going to counteract all the people that are going to be pissed.
You and I will be in the minority
right.
of people that are happy if they're not in it. Like, and you know what? I'll be happy if they're in it too. Like, it just seems like a lot for me. That's all. But I agree. There's no way. I mean, I hate when actors get put in a position where they have to outright lie to the media, because then they seem like an asshole later when it's exposed that they knew all along or whatever. But at the same time, we've heard people say, like Brie Larson has said this before, where when she filmed her post-credit scene for Captain Marvel, she didn't know what movie it was for. There were no other actors in the room. She walked into a green screen room and they said, "Stand here, look intense, and say this line."
Yeah.
And that was it. So, like, I can't imagine that the majority of this movie is going to be about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. If they're in it, they'll be like side characters to Tom Holland, I hope, because it's Tom Holland's trilogy.
Right.
But it's possible that he wasn't face to face with either of them. Yeah. And, like, you know, and they could have gotten Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield for 2 seconds without their masks, and then they just put their mask on, and then they're computer animated the whole rest of the time.
Right.
But, like, it's very possible that he doesn't know. Like, that's a possibility. Do I think it's true? No. I think he knows, but I have to leave room for the possibility that he doesn't actually know if they're in there or not, because they make movies crazily nowadays, and they can do stuff like that.
And even if he does know, he's got to be cagey about it. So
he's got to be cagey about it. What was up with that 360-degree experience trailer? Like, that was just the weirdest thing ever. Like, I can click away from the screen for Wheel of Time. Like, it like spun away, and then I'm looking at like a waterfall or something. I was like, why? I just want to watch the trailer. Like, what is this giving me?
So
there's not
so
like
that
another trailer
it was an Easter egg for people who had read the books.
Okay.
So Saidar and Saidin are the two different, like, opposing forces in people that can channel the one power. You'll figure it out once you watch the show. But
Okay.
the white was Saidin, and the right was Saidar, and there was, like, some weird faces and stuff showing up on the right. And I've read all the book, I've read the first 5 books, which is, like, all of every other book. Because they're, like, 1,400 pages each. But it was even confusing to me who appreciated it. So I don't know what, like, I can't imagine what you were going through. Like, what the hell is this stuff?
I was like, why does this exist? Why would I want to?
The first time I watched it,
from...
the first time I watched it said 360-degree experience, and I didn't even click on anything. I was just watching the trailer. I'm like, oh, cool.
Neither did I. I didn't even notice it till the end, and then I just clicked back into the trailer on YouTube at a random spot to, like, I was like, oh, what is happening? And then I couldn't get back to, like, the trailer. I couldn't have it, like, line up normally because I had just, like, spun way out of control, and I was like, okay, I don't know.
So you're watching it with, like, a weird border on a quarter of it. And
yeah,
like,
exactly. It was like a weird angle, like, back. Is very strange. Here's how I think about Wheel of Time. Like, you've explained Wheel of Time to me a couple times. I still don't, I feel like, completely get it. I'll watch it and see. I think my wife is going to start listening to the audiobooks for it, so we'll probably watch it. But it seemed, this trailer made me kind of realize that the adaptation of this, based on what the trailer is showing, saying, and things that you've told me and other people have told me about the series, this adaptation is like a big risk. I think, like, this is an all or nothing kind of thing. I think. Yeah. It seems like it's going to be great, or people are going to hate it. And it seems like a hard needle to thread based on everything that I've learned about it and everything. Even this trailer was, like, packed with information and still didn't give you, like, a clear, this is what it's about. Like, it kind of did, but it also was like, there's so much happening. It wasn't concise, but it seems like this. I mean, it's a story that seems like so huge and sprawling that it really can't be concise. Yeah,
basically. So one of our other friends, I've been going back and forth with him about it. He's a huge fan. Like, he's read the whole thing, whatever. And he was actually one of the ones that reinstilled my vigor. Like, before they even announced this show, he was like, you need to go through and actually finish this off. I was like, okay, cool. And they're even in what we've seen, you can tell they've got to hopscotch and take pieces out and, like, cliff notes the hell out of these books, because here. That's one of them.
Wow, that's huge.
Like, that's book 5. It's 1,000 pages. It's literally 988 pages.
Wow.
There's 14 of these.
Jesus.
15, because there's a prequel too. So
how do you even organize that as a showrunner? Like, how do you even? That's like I guess that's what I mean when I say it's like it's risky. It's like there's so much.
Well, what we picked up from the trailer was, like, stuff from the prequel book through the 4th book. And they're having to hopscotch around and try and juggle this. And you're right, it's going to be extremely risky. And, like, if they can tell a cohesive story from it, will be the test of the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. Another test of time. How do you make Dune Part 2 in 1 year? Like, literally from camera rolling to completed visual effects, 1 year for Dune Part 2? That's a challenge right there. And, like, I know they already have, like, sets built and it's probably already written and stuff, so they're, like, ahead of the game, but, like, they haven't started shooting yet. Like,
and they're not going to start shooting until fall 22?
Yeah, for a year. Like, that's crazy to me. That, like, because Dune Part 1 looked amazing, super long, but it just, I don't know, it looked so good. Like, they're going to shoot probably another 2.5 hour movie and edit it and get all the visual effects done in a year. That's a lot. That's a lot.
in the immortal words of Dodgeball, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how they're going to do that at all.
Yeah. I know I read a quote from Denis Villeneuve where he was talking about, he said something like, it's not going to be like a sequel that takes place later. This is going to pick up right from, continue the story that we were telling in Dune Part 1. I was like, it better continue that story because you stopped in the middle of the story for Dune Part 1, man. If it didn't pick up with that story, I think a lot of people would be very angry. So good, I guess, but I'm pretty sure we all assumed that when they walked into the desert and then the credits rolled with no closure on anything that had happened, we all assumed that Dune Part 2 was going to be picking up from that same story. What else? I'm really excited that they hired writers for the Superman Val-Zod adaptation. That's something that I guess I expected to hear about at DC Fandom, but didn't. And it's something we've mentioned a couple times. Like, it's good to know that things are still moving forward with some of these projects that they've announced.
Yep.
And I keep forgetting that it's in a miniseries. It's not a movie. It's a miniseries, which means there maybe could be multiple seasons of this. If it's on the same, they're not going to skimp on a Superman anything. So the fact that it, and plus it's got Michael B. Jordan, so this is I feel like it's going to look great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably going to have a bigger budget than like Peacemaker, even, because Peacemaker, he's just a dude with a gun. Like Superman, you got to show those powers, dude, or, it's not a Superman thing. So I'm pumped for this. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what continuity it's going to be set in, but I'm pumped for it. For sure. Something that I wasn't pumped for when it was announced was The Trench, which was announced after Aquaman came out, made $1 billion, that James Wan was going to do a spin-off called The Trench, focused on the trench creatures, I guess, that were in Act 3 of Aquaman, one of my favorite sequences in that movie, where it just becomes a horror movie for 15 minutes, which is amazing. But now he's saying it was a secret Black Manta movie. That movie got canceled or taken off the schedule like a year ago or a year or two ago, maybe. Dude, if you're making a Black Manta movie, maybe tell people that it's a Black Manta movie. Don't call it something ambiguous like The Trench and make us think that it's about weird characters that have no personality, that can't even speak. Like, I was like, why are they making a Trench movie? Just make Aquaman 2. Like, who cares about these monster creatures? Like, that's not interesting. That's not inherently interesting to me. You're telling me it was a secret Black Manta movie? Maybe pitch it as a Black Manta movie, and we would care. Maybe the reception would have been more enthusiastic.
Maybe it would have gotten greenlit if you actually, put it out the way that you wanted to or should have.
Yeah, you're telling me that you're gonna give me more of Yahya Abdul-Mateen as Black Manta in his own movie? Like, I would be excited about that. Yeah, that's a cool character. But just keep it a secret? No, come on, dude. That was infuriating to me. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that makes little to no sense whatsoever.
Little to no sense at all. So, I don't know. Those are our one-shots. I don't know that I have anything else to say. I do want to give a shout-out to a friend of mine named Zach Markley, who launched a podcast called Dreadful Science, which is kind of like a Twilight Zone-y kind of thing, where he has written and reads pieces or like creepy stories or just Twilight Zone-y kind of things that it's kind of written by and acted and produced by my friend Zach. Very good. There's 2 episodes out already, so you can check it out on all your podcatchers. This is like a random plug for a friend of mine, Dreadful Science. Check it out. It's really cool. It's really good if you're into like creepy horror fiction or suspense thriller fiction stuff. It's really cool.
Because I needed more things to consume.
I know, dude. Yeah, when you were earlier, when you were talking about how you have to play catch up, like, I'm in the same boat, especially now. Like, I love Halloween. I'm a big fan of spooky season and horror movies and Halloween planning and parties and decor and things like that. And because of that, and I love it. I love the month of October. But because of it, I feel almost a pressure to have to watch and consume creepy things, horror movies, whatever, during the month of October in the lead up to Halloween, which takes me away from watching things like Doom Patrol, Titans, Why the Last Man, the shows that you mentioned that I am in the middle of. So now I'm way behind on those things. because like, no, I should really watch Scream again. I haven't seen Scream in a while, or I gotta watch Evil Dead 2 tonight. I can't watch, I have to watch Halloween for the 40th millionth time. I can't spare time for an episode of Doom Patrol. So now November's here, and I am, feeling overwhelmed with the amount of catch up that I have to do.
Absolutely. We should have recorded the conversation about Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 from Friday night and threw it out on the podcast.
You're right. We should have. Yeah.
But
here we are. But Steve, that's all I got. I hope everybody's had a great Halloween weekend. Thanks for listening and watching. Steve, you want to do your wrap up spiel?
Absolutely.
Get out of here.
If you thanks for listening. If you'd like to follow us on Twitch, hit the button right down there. If you are listening on YouTube, feel free to like, subscribe, ring the bell so you know when we post videos. And, please, if you're listening in podcast form, review us, put some words down. I don't even care if they make sense. It helps the algorithm. It helps people find us. But yeah, rate, review, subscribe. It'd be great. If you want to get a hold of us, the Multiverse Report on all the socials except for Twitter, which is Multiverse RPT. And the Multiverse Report at gmail.com if you feel like tossing us something long form. Other than that, I think we're at a wrap.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much if you donated and backed my book, The Amazing Shakes, #1 on Kickstarter. Really appreciate it. So just big thanks all around. Happy November, and we'll see you next time in the multiverse.